Good morning, and I just want to show you guys, this is the river I was trying to show you in the last video in the middle of the night, the Willamette. Day one in Oregon here. I got in about 10 o'clock last night, went and wandered to try and find food. I branded the last video saying, oh, well, I couldn't find anything. I did a DoorDash some food, which I regretted like halfway into the night. Ooh, that was heavy. Got some work done editing last night. Just had a nice little quiet evening. This bed was super comfy and so were the pillows, but I'm not used to not being kicked in the middle of the night by either kids or whatever. So that was a little interesting to get used to. Now I'm gonna head down and get some free breakfast before I go and check out my dad. Let's go check out their breakfast spread. I've had breakfast in a lot of hotels, continental breakfast wise. This by far is one of my favorite breakfasts, period, let alone at a hotel or continental. Just look at the bacon. The bacon is amazing. The potatoes are really good. I love the build yourself yogurt, and the ambiance is really nice. It's quiet. It's right by a river. You hear the noise from the water outside, and you get to eat fun little treats. And the bar there, I'd like to try that out sometime, but it was closed as of right now. Here's helping number 2, some eggs Florentine and more bacon. You can never go wrong with the bacon. Definitely doing a hotel tour before I leave. Before we get started with all of our daily errands, helping my dad with all his stuff, I saw there's a classic car show happening next door. I'm gonna walk over there and check it out. Just because it's Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel doesn't mean I don't have an affinity for classic vehicles. My dream car has always been a 1957 Chevy Bel Air convertible. Let's go see what they have over there. Might as well have a little fun while we're in Oregon, right? I mean, just to give you an idea, here is my hotel, and we flip around, and there's the classic car show right there. And I just found out there is actually a traditional Indian wedding happening here at the hotel this weekend, which is why it's so packed. They told me the name of it. I was just talking to someone. I can't remember what it's called now, but basically the whole family's here, and it's like a 3-day ceremony. They're definitely playing my type of music too, and I already see the car I mentioned earlier. I'm sure we'll get there. Let's go see what they have. This is really cool. And I actually see both my dream cars right off the bat. This is really neat. Look how beautiful these are.
Beautiful quilt and the barbecue. About 8 raffle ticket
like a
numbers
Chevy Nova
are posted on the whiteboard. You might want to cruise up and check those. We'll read them as we get time.
That is absolutely beautiful. Wow. '57 Studebaker. Classic Camaro SS with the 396. That is beautiful. '67 Chevelle. I think, yeah, '67, sorry. That's absolutely beautiful. And like right here, this is more up my alley right here. These are so beautiful. Like you do not see the engineering like this, or just even the design standpoint anymore. We're just through the first row. If I had a choice of one car for the rest of my life, you're looking at it right there. Look how clean that is. Something about the '67 Mustangs, probably because I grew up in that Gone in 60 Seconds generation, but there's something about that design. I don't know why, but I can see Dana driving this. I'm actually really upset with myself I didn't bring my wide angle lens, but I wasn't expecting this when I came to Oregon. Look how incredible and well built, maintained these are. I actually recently just saw a old 32 Ford on Facebook Marketplace for 12 grand. Thought about it, but I thought my wife might kill me. This is stuff here, like my mom loves, like, well, not this particular car, but it's like this era of cars, like the Cadillacs and everything else. Because this is a Crown, I believe. Yep. Can't believe I knew that. Another Mustang with that beautiful body from the late 60s. Not as clean under the hood as the other one, but it looks like it's all original. Yeah, 65. Oh, wow. It's an old Corvette. Like I said, I may be the electric car guy, but I still have a complete appreciation and love for this culture. Kind of wish my father-in-law was here. He would be having a field day. Love these old Dodges. I mean, just look at that. You don't have any cars that look like that anymore coming up behind you on the freeway. This is incredible. And believe it or not, I was actually looking at something like this recently for home. So I thought it'd be incredible to have something like this. This is a 1915 Model T. Look at the beauty of this car. How we've gone from that to something like my Teslas. Like, it's incredible. And I love these too. Like, this is what I was talking about earlier. I was looking at something like this just recently on Facebook Marketplace. They were asking a very reasonable price for a completely restored one. The one I was looking at was a 32. This is like a 34. But something very similar to this, because like, this is so cool. Imagine this coming up on the road behind you. You're gonna stop and take a second look. The coupe, oh, it's so cool. I would love to put these doors on the Model Y. Like, zoinks, man. I think my father-in-law would be looking at something like this if he was here right now. In fact, let's take a picture for him. There it is. We'll send that to him here in a second. Ah, I'm glad I noticed this was here. Oh, I see a couple cars I gotta go show Charlie. This might be weird to say. This makes me really want to go to Disneyland, ride Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That's what this is. That's what these are based off. Well, that's what those are based off of. Cruising the English countryside and something like this. How dope is that? Oh, look at this. Wow. Just the engineering that goes behind these, even for like the general maintenance and upkeep this day and age, is incredible. And if Charlie was here right now, he'd be going bananas because it's a Ferrari.
Some of them are beautiful. Oh my gosh.
I always thought it'd be so cool to be in like the hot rod culture. Like, and heck, I keep talking about my father-in-law, my brother-in-law too would be loving this stuff. So I think these are dope to drive once. I don't know if I'd have the patience to maintain them, but oh, how cool are these? Ooh. Again, back to something for her daddy here. That's me. Oh my gosh, 68? Yep, 68 Shelby. 1 year removed from the one in Gone in 60 Seconds, but in the same ballpark. That is absolutely beautiful. In fact, I'm gonna do a walk around this one. Wow. And just look at those lines. Okay, I'm rethinking the whole Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel thing. Those cars were all absolutely incredible. I love that idea. I love that culture. I love that time. Like, if you've never seen like American Graffiti, I've made the proclamation more than once that I should have been born in the 50s and that type of culture, because that's definitely my personality and who I am. Just seeing all these cars is just absolutely incredible. All right, let's go to the hotel, drop off a couple things, and time for reality. We're gonna go and check on my dad and see what craziness is in store for me. Oh, there's someone of my ilk. I knew this trip was not gonna be easy. This is not like a leisure trip for me. This is me coming to check on my dad, who's definitely later on in life. Best way I can describe it is we're two like drastically different people. It's getting harder and harder for me to help without enabling, if that makes any sense. So I had to cut the video a little bit short from breakfast because I want to do a full like tour of this hotel. I'm not a huge fan of my trips up here, but the one bright spot is the Independence Hotel. I think it's one of the best hotels I've stayed at. Like, it's beautiful settings, it's perfect, it's on the river, the staff is always genuinely nice and good. The rooms are fantastic. Like, everything about the hotel is great. Even their breakfast. Their complimentary breakfast is better than breakfast I pay for. I don't know, I was trying to avoid putting a lot of his business out there, but you know, my dad's not necessarily all there or has what people like to say common sense. He thrives off of survivalist instincts. He hates when I say this, but I'm just gonna say it. He romanticizes a struggle. He has to struggle or has to be, I'm gonna try this again. Like, I really don't know. I knew this trip was not gonna be a fun trip. This is not a vacation. He makes everything extremely difficult for me and my two older siblings. He wants what he wants, nothing less, and what he wants is not possible or feasible with his means. For all intents and purposes, he's been homeless for the last 30 years. And I don't mean like he's on the streets homeless, like he lives out of a little camper and lives off of the grid entirely. This is so hard to even talk about. My dad and I, again, I know I've already said it earlier, and there's probably a lot of editing happening because there was lots of just stunned silences of me trying to really figure out the words to put together to describe the situation. Again, without sounding mean, without sounding overly critical, but at the same time, I think I'm at a point, and this now kind of serves as a message for people out there with parents who struggle. Let's put it that way. I think I am gonna go into more detail because I think it's necessary to understand the situation. My father much for like my older siblings who are my half brother and half sister who live in Northern California. Our dad was never around a majority of our lives, and not saying he like wasn't around in as much as like we saw him usually and heard from him sort of on a regular basis, but he was always off doing his own thing. Like, for instance, my dad moved to Oregon from Arizona when I was 8. And even when he was in Arizona, in Tucson, I would see him once every few months. The people think I'm crazy when I describe it this way, but this is the genuine 100% way I can describe the relationship I had with my father growing up. He left when I was 8 to come to Oregon. And he was my dad. Makes me sound kind of dumb, but it wasn't until I was in middle school where I had that moment of realization where this guy that I called my dad, like, oh my gosh, he's my father. Like, and since he was never around for the parental part of everything, it just never really occurred to me that he was like my parent. And after talking to my sister and my brother to a certain degree, I kind of feel it was the same thing with them. Like, they refer to their stepdad or their stepfather more as their dad than our mutual father. He definitely doesn't have common sense for the way that the actual world works. Father enlisted in the Army when he was 17 and immediately went off to Vietnam for just under 3 years. But unfortunately, those 3 years had some irreversible effects on his psyche and his person. We're trying to help him understand his lifestyle, his life choices aren't conducive for being healthy, his living situation, and just common sense. For all intents and purposes, our dad's homeless, and he's been that way for 30 plus years. Before anything weird in the comments, this is a choice, and his homeless is like he lives in a little travel trailer in the parking lot of a restaurant where he's friends with the owners, or drives a F1 Super Duty Ford pickup. Like, he's fully disabled, retired from the military. Like, he has income, he has all that stuff. He can't be locked down. We all have our issues, and part of his issues from, being in Vietnam for so young shows off in different areas. Like, he can't be tied down to a place or to a family or anything else. He starts to feel trapped, and his issues kick in as a result. I get having those mental limitations, like things that prevent you from being the best version of yourself. But you also have to be aware of it. And although aware of it, he doesn't understand how it affects him and his relationship to his family. Like, we've been trying for the last several years to get him to move closer to either my brother and sister or even to me. He always has excuses and reasons why. And that's the reason I bring all that up, is to get to this part here. I always come up to try and help him. I try to find him housing. It's all too expensive. Well, if you get rid of this big truck you don't need, I want my truck. It's everything has to fit in his perfect order of things. All the stuff we're doing for him, it's not, we convinced ourselves that we're helping as much as we can. But the reality is we're just enabling this lifestyle that's more detrimental than helpful. And our father's 75. It's not like he's a young guy. I'm having to make this choice now. Do I just try to repair and keep a relationship going now that it's reaching toward the end? Or do I really step in and be that aggressor and say no, this is not okay. We're not doing this anymore. I'm not helping you. I'm enabling you. This was supposed to be a visit to check in on him, to get him some supplies, and maybe spend a little bit of time bonding. Now it's turned into me helping and enabling the survivalist mentality and lifestyle he has. I don't know how much of this is actually going to make it into the overall video. You're my therapy right now. But it also makes me really appreciate who I am and what I have going on. I'm going to do something I absolutely never do. You can ask anyone that really knows me. I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. I pushed myself to go to college, finish college, and then graduate school. I was lucky enough to find someone I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I have 2 amazing kids. As a kid with a learning disability where they said I would never read or write past a certain grade level, not only have I done that, I've written and published over 15. I have 15 credits to my name as a writer. And I take extreme pride in that. I've always had goals and ambitions, and I've achieved a lot of them. I've overcome and used my dad as, I guess, as that benchmark. He thinks he has the world figured out, but the reality is the world left him behind a long time ago. And I look at him and I don't look at him as my dad. I look at him as the guy I have to help take care of and I'm responsible for. Sorry, I need to get that off my chest. I'm approaching 15 minutes of just talking to you guys, so I sincerely doubt all that's going to make it into the video, but I think it was good to get that off my chest. It is not even 9:30 a.m. yet. All right, let's go see if we can get something to fix this problem. Essentially, I'm here to try and find something to put my dad's generator on, so it's not just sitting on the ground or the current shelf of milk crates that's now broken and fallen apart, because weirdly enough, it couldn't support a 200-pound generator. I found a few options. I gotta go run and buy them real quick and see if he's willing to accept those, because he's determined he's gonna build a platform with 2x8s and construct his own engine hoist to lift it up and down by himself. Yeah. For the time being, I'm done helping out right now with my dad's stuff. I'm back at my hotel. I was gonna walk down the street here because there's like a fiesta going on, and there's a couple places I wanted to try on Main Street here in Independence to eat. However, it just started raining, as in typical Oregon fashion. So I'm gonna work for a little bit, then maybe head down there. All of those things we talked about earlier that really, I don't know, the stuff that makes helping my father really difficult. Of course, now there's like a little highlight where we did a FaceTime so you could talk to my kids, his grandkids, and I actually saw that visible change in his personality where you can tell he was happy. So that was a good thing. And I finally got him to agree to a couple things that'll make what he wanted to accomplish today a lot easier. And he finally even agreed this will be easier. So small victory, but now I got to drive back into Salem, which is like 30 minutes away. Ooh, that was a big bolt of lightning. 30 minutes away to get the thing we discussed, like a metal platform for to set his generator on. Yeah, I'm going to work for a little bit, and then, so I think right now I'm just going to sit down, I'm going to do some work right for a little bit, and then we'll figure out what we're doing for the rest of the night. Maybe go grab some local food. I don't know, who knows where the night will take us. It's like 3:30, we're getting crazy now. 3:30 in the afternoon. I was about to walk and go get food, but it is still pouring rain. And there's no parking necessarily downtown, so I'm essentially walking down the street. That kind of changes things. And there's really not a lot to eat in this town as far as like restaurant options. So I'm actually gonna go try the one little Italian restaurant that's right on the corner here. Wish me luck, guys. And of course, I forgot a rain jacket of any kind or umbrella. Usually there's always one in my backpack. I feel like we're in the Goonies, like the sequel right now. Maybe just because I'm in Oregon, who knows? Like I said, there's lots of things going on right now here in Independence. One of them is the community fiesta, which unfortunately looks like it just got rained out. Like this poor guy right here is waiting for it to stop raining too. And I couldn't wait for it to stop raining. So I went into Mangiare, which is in Italian means to eat, and they had no shortage of food options. Menu was a little bit bigger than I'd like to see, which with a fine eatery place like this is supposed to be. But you know what? Everything looked okay, but I was a little overwhelmed. They had the bread come out first, which was really good focaccia bread. I wasn't sure what was on there at first. It looked like frosting, but it was actually just melted Parmesan. It was really delicious. The salt in there was just right, and it was really soft, super fresh bread. I was a little shocked to find out they don't make a lot of stuff from scratch here. One thing they do make is this pear martini. I decided to give it a whirl, but you know what? A little too strong for me in the long run. My food came out really fast. I mean, when I say fast, like a little uncomfortably fast. But, well, whatever. Let's try it out. Not a whole lot of sauce, not a lot of cheese. It tastes like maybe it was pre-made and not fresh. The pasta, though, however, although not made fresh in the house, their Alfredo sauce was. And that Alfredo sauce was actually really, really good. And I was convinced to get a little dessert. I mean, you got to twist my arm. I decided to try out the panna cotta, which I had raspberries and blackberries on there. But what came out was just blackberries. And it was really good. It was in the shape of a heart, so I'm thinking this is something that has maybe left over from Valentine's Day as far as design. That fell. All right, let's try that again. The dessert was really good overall. Well, anyway, that's enough for me. Now back to me. The food was okay. However, the options I've had so far in the town, probably the best food that's available to eat here in Independence. Well, as far as I can tell so far. I think we're going to end the video today because it's raining cats and dogs. I got to walk back to the hotel, and well, I'm very, very tired. Day one after traveling is always the hardest. Thanks for taking the ride with us. Sorry about the therapy session today, but thanks for watching this far. Let's take another ride again soon. Bye-bye, everybody. I don't like the rain.